was a unanimous decision. This was brought by Nancy Pelosi and her group. It just came out a few minutes ago. So I'll be reading it on the helicopter, but it was a total win. This was brought by 230 Democrats in Congress on emoluments. It was another phony case, and we won it 3-0. We won it unanimously. Yeah. That was a false report. I have a great relationship with Mick. I have a great relationship with Mark, and it's false. Well, I'm not happy with him. You think I'm supposed to be happy with him? I'm not. They'll make that decision. You'll be hearing. They'll make a decision.
On the way out?
They're going to be making that decision. I don't understand. I can't hear you. You have to speak loud. Well, we were abused by the FISA process. There's no question about it. We were seriously abused by FISA, by what they did and by what they signed and who signed. It's a terrible thing that happened. And we were absolutely abused, as per your question. Yeah. Well, you'll see. I mean, we'll see what happens.
I haven't heard from you about your thoughts about
Well, I thought it was a terrible thing when she ripped up the speech. First of all, it's an official document. You're not allowed. It's illegal what she did. She broke the law. But I haven't been asked a question other than a lot of people that viewed it. They couldn't believe that she did it. I thought it was terrible. I thought it was very disrespectful to the chamber and to the country. And, you know, look, I got very high marks on this speech, and I didn't know she did it until I was walking out, and some of the congressmen and women were saying, can you believe what she did? But I didn't know she did it. Well, I think there's a lot of evil on that side. They've gone crazy. They've gone totally crazy. It's too bad. I've gotten tremendous amounts done, more than anybody's gotten done in 3 years, by far. But they're not constructive people. Well, I do work with Democrats. I work with everybody, but that group is, you know, they say Trump derangement syndrome. They've got it. They've got a bad case of it. You saw that. That was on display the other night when she ripped up the speech. That was terrible. It was a terrible, so disrespectful to our country, and actually very illegal what she did. Yeah, I gave the answer. That was a bull.
Manufacturing accidents for the same cell time in all 50 states. Does the administration intend to go after Adam Schiff?
Well, I mean, I have to say this. We just came out with fantastic job numbers. I think it was 230,000 or something thereabouts, which was much higher than projections. So jobs continue to be great. Our country continues to do great. I'm now going to North Carolina. Some of you maybe are coming, but the jobs report just came out, and it's great. No. These people, they're their own people. I'm not their boss, and I don't think they've done anything as far as I know. But it's very sad what happened with the Bidens, and it's also very sad how he's doing in the polls. Now I understand the votes are fried in Iowa. They couldn't even take a simple tabulation, and yet they're telling you how to run the country and how to run health care. I think they fried their votes on computer. Think of it, all the money that the Democrats spent, and the votes are fried. They have no idea who won. They have no idea. But I'll tell you who won on the Republican side. They accounted for every single vote, and it was a lot of votes. It was a record-setting number of votes. Trump won. Well, you don't know what happened in Iowa, because if you look, I mean, they're essentially tied, but they couldn't keep tabulation of their vote. Everybody's a threat. I view everybody as a threat. I even view John as a threat. You never know. That's wet. Yeah. No, China's working very hard. Late last night, I had a very good talk with President Xi, and we talked mostly about the coronavirus. They're working really hard, and I think they're doing a very professional job. They're in touch with our world organization, CDC also. We're working together, but World Health is working with them. CDC is working with them. I had a great conversation last night with President Xi. It's a tough situation. I think they're doing a very good job. I think that China will do a very good job. They should, because it was a hoax. That's a very good question. Should they expunge the impeachment in the House? They should, because it was a hoax. It was a total political hoax. You know what's going to unify the country, and it's already unified in a lot of ways? All you have to do is look at our crowds and look at our support. What unifies it is the great success. Our country today is more successful than it has ever been, and that's unifying the country. But I heard that Mitt Romney made a fairly long speech. And I mean, honestly, I thought I'll just address it quickly because it's irrelevant. Look, Mitt is a failed candidate. He failed. He failed horribly. And I backed Mitt Romney. I backed him. You can see how loyal he is. He was begging for my endorsement. I could have said, Mitt, drop to your knees. He would have dropped to his knees. He was begging. I was so disappointed in him because he let us down. He let us down. And then Jeb Bush actually convinced Mitt not to run. Can you imagine? Jeb sold him. Jeb, he's a good salesman. See, now that he's out, I'll say Jeb's a good salesman, right? He's a high-energy salesman. But I'll tell you the real reason he chickened out. It wasn't Jeb. It was me. He probably still has a desire, maybe at the convention, to try and get some kind of a thing. Hillary Clinton will destroy him in the election. Mitt is indeed a choke artist. He choked, and he choked like I've never seen anyone choked, other than Rubio when Chris Christie was grilling him. That was one of the great chokes. First of all, you know, he doesn't mention the fact that I built a city on the west side of Manhattan, that I built buildings all over Manhattan. He didn't mention into this that he was talking about a beef. They want to talk about a magazine, and I have a magazine. It goes to all my clubs. They want little tiny thing, you know, wherever you can find Trump University, Trump Initiative. But I will tell you, just so you understand on the school had 98% approval rating. He said about trade, we have to keep trade. Nobody knows more about trade than me. I mean, I made so much more money than Mitt. You know, I have a store that's worth more money than Mitt. You know, Romney talks about taxes, right? Why isn't he doing his taxes? Maybe this. You don't learn anything from, very little do you learn from taxes. And I filed my financials. So when he says, oh, maybe there's something in his tax return, there's nothing. But I get audited every single year. When the audit's finished, I'll release my tax return. He came out, it was very nasty. I mean, I thought he was a better person than that. A guy like Romney, who truly is a lightweight. They said, act presidential tonight. I said, I'll act presidential, but if somebody hits me, I'm going to hit him back harder. Right? So when Mitt made the statement, he said, he will ruin free trade. Ruin free trade. If I'm losing $505 billion with China, If I'm losing $58 billion a year with Mexico in terms of deficits, what do I want that kind of trade for anyway? Ruin it. Who needs that kind of trade? Seriously, who needs that kind of trade? Now, Mitt admitted that I'm a much better businessman than him, and I am. I'm a much, much, much better businessman than him. If he would have run, and even if he would have won, it would have been bad. He doesn't have what it takes to be president, that I can tell you. He doesn't have what it takes to be president.